7:40. We're here to continue discussion of potential sales and leases of county-owned properties. And just on time. Sorry, we are running a tight schedule today.
I hear you. You weren't sure if we were interrupting the last week.
No, it's just flowing.
All right, well, we will
Just
not
flowing.
impede. Go for it.
We had just opened this session up. We had asked the P&Z folks to help us narrow down a list of recreational properties and what would you go ahead and share your recommendations with us?
Sure. Dan Martinson for the record. So we took the list of FEMA buyout properties that we've been discussing over the past weeks and divided them up into 3 categories. The green ones on your list are the ones that have previously been rented or leased, and we felt were still very viable for that and should be the ones put on the list for leasing this year and going
As
into
recreation.
as recreational use properties. The one is the one out on Palo Road. There's 2 on Riverview Drive. There's another one on the one at the bottom is on Coeur d'Alene River Road, which is just across the street from the Bumblebee cutoff. And so in your packet, there was some maps as well for each one of those, where those were located. So those were the ones that we found were likely to be viable immediately for use. The yellow ones are all the ones, different ones that are what I would say odd lot properties, or are probably not terribly conducive to recreational uses and certainly haven't been in the past, either by folks not knowing about them or they just weren't really viable. So we can go through those more one-on-one. To some of those may potentially be something that could be developed into something for next year, would be the idea. The rest of them probably are going to fall in that category of we should offer them up to the adjacent property owners for extended use and preservation because they're not terribly conducive, or it might be pretty intrusive for those properties to be rented out or leased out to somebody for recreation purposes. So we can go through those, over time to see if any of those jump out as maybe they could be added to the green list for next year. But I think those are the ones that, at least from a first strike, should be further discussion had on those. The brown ones, or the kind of orange colored ones, are the ones that the county has some particular interest in particular at Riverview Drive and Coeur d'Alene River Road. There's what used to be the park and ride parcel that was now being leased to the Chatfields. And then there's 2 lots down up on the corner of Riverview Drive that was modified to be the current park and ride parking lot. So we should keep those. The third one is the one that's being discussed on at Enaville, the potential parking lot property. And then the fourth one, I think which one that was. Oh, there's the 2 that are just west of on Riverview Drive, west of Coeur d'Alene River Road. It's basically the front yard of that property where that Riverview Drive makes that real hard S90. Those were FEMA buyout properties. Arguably, those should not be rented out to somebody for recreational use, and in fact, some future use of the county may be for realignment of the road or something of that nature. So those got put into that category. The county should keep those and not lease those out, so that we can continue to utilize them for our purposes.
The first 2 in the brown or orange or whatever that is, those are the ones that are the park and ride?
No, those 2 are the ones that are just west of Coeur d'Alene River Road at the intersection of Riverview. The other 2 are the ones, Coeur d'Alene River Road is the one that is the one for Chatfields, and then the other one is the ones further to the east.
It's the last 4 in their ID for the Chatfields, the parking rights. Didn't grab our maps.
Well, that map is not enough. Oh. I'm missing the map.
I don't have a map. This
There's a
last
4th
one.
map that's missing
Okay.
in that pack. that is the map of Chatfield, so.
I think Jeff's the only one with maps. So,
Okay, I can get those later.
I got 1680 is the Chatfields one, and 1880 is the one that's on the furthest east.
What's the park and ride? Is it
The park and ride currently is the 1880. It's one of the 1680 is one in yellow that is currently being leased to the Chatfields. Just about that. And then there was one in there, one of the yellow ones, well, we can go into the details of the yellow ones at another time. Okay. Each of those have some story with them that may or may not be a decision we made.
all right. Well, board, we have a limited amount of time today for this issue. P and Z is, well, we've set out to not rent the piece that we have considered for potential parking lot. Or nothing new there. We're still holding that. We're not leasing it. We're just holding it while we do research on parking. We've identified 4 parcels that the P and Z has recommended that we go ahead and get leased. I think we need to vote on whether or not we want to go with those 4 to start with. And then we need to set some kind of rules for how we're going to deal with the advertising and sale or awarding of a lease, not a sale, awarding of a lease. So we're looking at the 4. I'll just start with, I would entertain a motion that we accept the following 4 parcels, and I will give out their address that for lease for the remainder of 23 season. That would be 130 Palo Road up near Bumblebee. That would be 42,928 Riverview Drive, 42,892 Riverview Drive, and up near Bumblebee, 5580 Coeur d'Alene River Road. Did I got that correctly?
yes?
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion that we go ahead and lease those through, I think we had said at the last meeting, October
Yeah, October 31st.
31st for 2023.
All, so moved.
So move.
A second.
Any discussion on those?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, all right, so we have picked 4 that we will definitely lease. Based on our discussion last time, I'll motion myself just to save time that we advertise these for 2 weeks. That during that 2 weeks, the county will accept sealed bids, that we open the bids on July the 19th, which would be 2 weeks from now, if I read my calendar correctly. And then we would have a live auction where the highest bid for leasing those, we'd start with the sealed bids and then just do a live auction and go with the highest bidder to lease them for the 23.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay,
No.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. As far as advertising, just as a point of discussion, we've talked about putting it on our Facebook page or website. I know we have at least one realtor who's offered to post them. And are you okay with doing a newspaper
Yes.
ad as well?
Yes.
Okay. P and Z, any further recommendations on how we might get the word out?
As far as getting the word out, I would put together some sort of property information quasi listing of those 4, so they name, address, phone number, personal number, so they can find them, look at them, and decide if they want them. Put something of that nature together. So there's a good way to answer their questions, because that's gonna be the first questions, where are they? And then put that out there so they have something to,
Can you help us with some maps?
we can.
And then maybe we could have packets available here at the courthouse that are available for folks that want to,
Property information and a map, and
so that we could have a packet of advertise the information and then let them know they can pick up a packet. Okay,
would it be advisable to have some form of lease agreement up there so they would know what their lease agreement's gonna say and what they're,
Yeah,
what they're
I have
bidding
that.
for, what they're, cause they probably should have that agreement up
I
front
think
as well.
Commissioner Zimmerman's been working on an updated, consistent lease so that everybody in the county has the same lease.
And you want to include it in that listing thing, or at least a link to it, so they can go look at the draft lease and know what they would be facing. 'Cause that's gonna be the second question they ask.
Good point.
What can or can't we do on the property?
So, all right. Anything further to be considered or discussed
No.
at this point? So we're clear on the advertising, and we voted on the 19th as be the auction, and we'll accept sealed bids until then.
Okay.
All right. So now we just have to get the word out. Last chance, Board of Commissioners, and then I'll open it up to public comment. Anything further from P and Z?
That should be good.
Okay. All right. Public comments.
I don't have anything. I just, obviously I'm here to see what's happening with the field. I'd like to thank Dan, though, he did send me a copy of that FEMA guide, which is, I don't know if you read it, but it's exhausting. Yeah. I did take a copy of, it's page 20 of the PDF, but page 16 of the guide. I'd like to get to you guys because it references specifically compatible land uses. Talks about using the property to store vehicles on it. Specifically says that storing vehicles on the property is not allowed.
Yeah, I think they're talking about storing them as in permanently or semi-permanently as opposed to parking, but I understand that. Yeah, I read through that too. It's exhausting. Great. I wonder who writes those.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a sleeper.
Thank you. Anything
Yeah.
else, Joe? Okay. Matt, did you have anything?
Just some clarification, Dan brought up the leasing to adjacent property owners. I had found no code where you have to do that.
That's true. I
I
don't,
would agree. It's not, you don't have to.
Right.
It's just,
It's what you guys
it's a
decide.
suggestion.
what we decide.
So
So,
recommendations is to make it usable to adjacent.
so that we'll be doing is now is we need to work our way through the list on yellows and that, but we wanted to get something out there this year for recreation. So we took the easiest, most obvious recreational parcels. And on the parking, I haven't had any time over the last week to do it. So I don't think we've proceeded any further with research there, but keep you posted as promised.
And on what Matt just said about leasing to adjacent property owners. You'd be getting yourself in a little hot water with that one by doing it with some, but not with others, because obviously I'm an adjacent property owner to the field.
That's a good point.
And so you gotta, I think you'd have to treat all of them the same.
And in fact, that's why we're moving slowly with this. The trick is to make sure we come up with a fair system and consistent. So thank you all for that. At this point, if there's no further comments from the board or questions,
Nope.
I'm going to adjourn as we have a day full